Hi guys, Greg here. And today I have a question for everyone out there. Who is Baba? Great intro, Greg, you say? Of course, Baba is you. And today I'm going to be giving you my thoughts on the game and showing you a bit of gameplay, and you can see whether or not I'd recommend you giving it a go. As always, please subscribe, like the video. Catch me streaming on Twitch Monday, Wednesdays and Fridays. And let's get going. Baba Is You is a puzzle game created by Finnish indie developer Hempuli, hope I'm saying that right, and was released in March 2019 for PC and Nintendo Switch. I've spent all my time with Baba Is You on the Switch, and it feels like a fresh take on the puzzle genre. I don't think I would ever normally pick up a game that was listed solely as being a puzzle game. In fact, it's rare to find that as the case anywhere, I think. So games that I think of as solely puzzle games that I've played in the past would include Braid, but that's probably more of a platformer. The Witness was great, but that was probably classed as like a exploration sim type thing. Fez, but again, platformer. Tetris Effect? I digress. With tons of games out nowadays, I feel like the puzzle genre is held much more accountable than most to come up with innovative ideas that haven't been seen before. Battle Royale. And you need something truly inventive and fresh so as to be able to compete in today's market solely as a puzzle game. In my routine musings on what makes video games appealing, I've decided that puzzle games that I have enjoyed all share a similar design. The entire game rests on one concept that is initially simple and easy to pick up, and this concept develops as you play the game. What was once a simple and intuitive concept twists and evolves, ramping up the difficulty along with it. What's important is a strong foundation of an innovative concept and the fundamental mechanics of the game. Baba Is You certainly fits this description. And the concept is not only fresh but imaginatively existential, and proves that strong core gameplay is pretty much all a game needs to be great. So in a normal review I'd probably talk about the story now, but in Baba Is You there isn't one. And there doesn't need to be, so instead let's talk about gameplay. At the start of the game you're presented with some basic statements, and herein lies the game's core mechanic. The statements we see form the rules that the game abides by, and these phrases may sound pretty familiar to anyone who's played a puzzle game in the past. The flag is my goal because flag is win. I can't move through walls because wall is stop, but I can move these rocks because rock is push, and so on. The player quickly discovers that these rules can be pushed around and reconstructed, and thus the very confines that were previously shaping the game are now altered. So in the first level of the game, the player is presented with the rules I mentioned earlier. Baba Is You, flag is win, wall is stop, and rock is push. The savvy gamer out there has probably already solved this level. I can't move through these walls, but I can go around them. Or I could just push these rocks out the way to get to the flag. But then you realise that the possibilities are much more numerous and inventive than initially appears. If I disconnect wall is and stop, I can now pass freely around the rocks without having to bother myself with pushing or lots of walking. I mean, while I'm at it, why win with the flag? I can win with the rocks. Or heck, I can make the walls all rocks and win with them too. I could push these walls out the way if I felt like it. I am a Baba god. But whatever you do, don't disturb the you, otherwise, well, what am I? Any smug feelings or dreams of bending the game to your will are quickly quashed as the game progresses, I'm afraid. Albeit in all the right ways. New rules are introduced as the player progresses through the worlds of the game. Along with the first level staples of push, stop, and of course win, come death, sink, float, move, and even a teleport mechanic. The four simple statements that were easily understood at the beginning of the game quickly become a much more complicated and tangled affair. Thankfully, there is a simple yet particularly useful undo feature in the game that allows the player to rewind right to the moment that was the beginning of their undoing. I found Baba Is You to be thoroughly rewarding. It's one of those activities I can feel actively firing up new routes in my brain while I'm trying to think abstractly and imagine these simple statements in as many different permutations as I can. The game lends itself very well to being played with others because the concept in its basic form is so intuitive and easy to understand. It can easily be explained to friends or family members that are watching, and my girlfriend and I have had lots of fun working out solutions to the trickier levels. And trust me, there are indeed some tricky ones that you'll have to revisit a few times before the solution finally becomes clear. The music of Baba Is You is nothing particularly special, not as catchy as, but reminiscent of classic Metroid I suppose. Spacey synths and muted drum beats create a sparse, dark atmosphere. I found some of the tracks have brought about a bit of a head bop, as I'm stuck with them for sustained periods of time and unable to work out solutions to the trickier levels. But again, Baba Is You succeeds in its minimalistic design. And while some more variety in the soundtrack would have been welcome, I don't feel the one we have lets the game down in any way. It does its job. The same can be said for the game's art style. It's nothing special, if anything, it's quite bland. But does that detract from how imaginative this game is in its concept and execution? No, not at all. The only downside I'd have is there isn't much replayability, I suppose, unless you particularly wanted to experiment with other solutions for levels you've already completed. That being said, I must have played Baba Is You for over 10 hours already, and I realised that I haven't even explored half of the worlds on offer. Admittedly, I've spent a lot of time trying to figure out the trickier sort of bonus levels in the early worlds, but there's lots on offer here for those willing to put in the effort. So the idea at the very core of Baba Is You is a welcome breath of fresh air in the puzzle genre. The beautiful thing about this game is that the concept can be explained to anyone within minutes, regardless of whether they're into video games or not. And yet, as this core mechanic is added to throughout the game, Baba Is You brings some tough challenges that will give you hours of enjoyment, with genuine eureka moments that will stick with you for a long time. Baba is great. So those were my thoughts on Baba Is You. If you haven't checked it out already, I would highly recommend giving it a go. Let me know in the comments down below if you've already played the game and what your thoughts are on it. In fact, there's probably quite a lot of levels that I could do with some help on, actually. I think it actually says quite a lot about the game that I haven't actually looked up any of the solutions to the levels that I've been stuck on in Baba Is You. I really want to work them out for myself. Whereas usually I'm straight on the internet well, this is dull, how do I do this? But that's about it for now, I reckon. As always, thanks for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye.